Welcome back, audience. Hope you're doing good, as always. And I got a good one for you today. Where's my tea, you ask? 1 second. There it is. Thanks for reminding me. Not skipping the little bit of a ritual before the start. All right, so in this video, I want to talk about body as almost like its own entity and being, and the difference between soul and body emotions. Now, what I don't like, because I don't think it's correct, is when I see a lot of people confuse those things, and when they listen to these spiritual teachings and whatnot, right? Spiritual teachings. They end up believing, which is just a belief, that the body or like the any kind of negative emotion in the body is kind of not okay, and then they want to fix that, which does not need to be fixing. And if they do apply that fixing, now, as opposed to logics invading your psyche and creating all sorts of beliefs and therefore problems, rather than logos meant to be handling that level of chaos, okay? And in the body, laws are different. Logics must be dominating the world of the body, the physical reality. Logics must be dominating it. You understand? So you could also say that when logic's invading the psyche, and what does that mean? That means that you have a negative feeling, mind comes in and says, let me help you with that. Let's build a wall around it. Let's not expose ourselves to these moments in life where we could get hurt, right? And so that creates all sorts of belief systems how to avoid that and navigate the life where you don't face those things that may hurt you. But at the same time, what happens is that you also cut off yourself from all the enjoyment of life. And so therefore there's the suffering, and then you have to seek the pleasure to compensate for the enjoyment that must be flowing naturally from your soul. Okay, so again, I'm just saying that the logos, which is your attention, must be placed on those negative feelings in order to be resolved. That's all it needs. Understand? Not the mind invading it and saying, let me help you, let me create these belief systems, and let me do something that you don't get hurt. And then I'm going to extract pleasure from the world, and every time I extract the pleasure, somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt real bad. Anyway, so right, you see, it's just that little motion of logics invading the psyche. That's all it is, man. If you don't have that process in your consciousness, you're good. You're good. At least you are living life in the right direction, as I say. You see? And the more you place your attention on the negative feelings to alchemize them, the less the mind intervenes and tries to help you with that. Mind can never do that, okay? Right. Now, but you could also go an extreme and say, well, that energy, that good feeling, is just going to resolve everything in my life. And so I don't have to take care of anything, not even my bodily needs. It's just going to take care of itself. No, it won't. The physical reality is going to function according to the physical laws, and you must navigate according to those laws. Right? It's just a thing. Thinking that your high vibe is going to override the way the laws of physics work or the way even the people interact is wrong. It's not right. And so it creates these types of people who are negating the natural bodily emotions and natural drive for pleasure in the body, and all of these different things that's supposed to be natural in the body, they're negating them as well. That is asceticism, right? It's just moving from the hedonistic way, with the hedonistic pleasures, to asceticism. Okay, both are wrong. So this is why I just want to clarify that. And these people, these ascetic people who deny the body, and they say, God forbid, I'm just gonna get angry. Oh no, they all look the same. Like there's not a lot of life going on in the body. They all like sit there and in peace and just like really focus on the being, But what about the aliveness? What about being a human being, right? So therefore, this is not right. Okay, they're fighting the nature of the human body. Okay, so that's now you're trying to sort of like be holy while you have a animal body with its own needs and desires, right? That's, like I said, body is a profane thing. You can have a holy heart and a profane body, and this is like the exact perfect way for you to be showing up in the world. Okay, so like everyday examples. For example, you may see that in dogs, but dogs, as Eckhart Tolle says, they live below the thought, and you're meant to be living above the thought. That's his way of saying this thing. But you can see it in dogs. The dogs may be hanging around and playing, and everything is fine, and everybody's happy, but then there's a conflict that arises, and there's like aggression in that moment, and there is some sort of conflict is resolved, and then everybody's playing again, right? Like if nothing happened, there's no grudge, no nothing, but the aggression showed up as a natural expression of the body. Okay, and then everybody's friends again. So the same way in your life, right? Aggression is type of a masculine way of dealing with things, right? And the specific aggression that I'm talking about, it's not violence, because I don't even consider, for example, to stop somebody who's being violent using force is not violence. Okay? Violence to me is when it comes from the tainted heart, when it comes from hate. That's violence. But the force can be used with aggression and assertiveness, not necessarily anger, because it's very different, right? That's exactly, you can become violent if you're angry, but you could have assertiveness and aggression in the moment. It's just like, let's say two martial artists, they're friends, but when they are fighting, there's a certain type of aggression, but there's no animosity, there's no anger there for each other. It's a sport, right? But you see what I'm trying to say? If they're friends, that aggression will never go into the anger, but it will always go into the playfulness, but the aggression is still going to be there for you to play that game that you're playing. You have to have it, right? You can't go, like, it's just not going to work. So anyway, I hope that I'm communicating well enough about the bodily emotions, and it's fine. They come and they go. These bodily emotions, these are not like existential soul emotions, and it appears they do exist, and that they are sort of body level electromagnetic motions, which are emotions, right? And they sometimes may happen automatically, right? And what I'm trying to say is that it is normal, and there's no need to be fixing that. Even the bodily fear is normal. Like if you walk around and something, it just shows up and it appears to be that it might be dangerous, hit you in the head and whatever, and you move out of the way out of just the reaction, that was fear working in the way it's supposed to be working. But if you just go and you're just like, no, the God is going to take care of me, and and you get whacked in the head because you basically misappropriated the logos in this case and not used the logics, which is what's supposed to run your body. Okay? And so again, another reason I'm saying this is, okay, there's two approaches in this game of life from one perspective. And I think in Hindu traditions, they were calling them Pratyeka Buddha and Bodhisattva. Okay? So just basically, to me, it's just a description of two different types of games. Okay? So one of the games is that I'm going to come into this reality what has a lot of contrast, and it's going to produce a lot of pressure for my alchemy, right? So what I'll do, I'll use this reality because it has such a big contrast and a lot of dark to mine my own gems, and then once I get that, I'm personally liberated, and then I fuck off. And so that's one game, right? Like, I leveled up, but it is not really playing the game itself, because the point of the game is not only this motion of just mining for diamonds in your soul, so to speak. You're using them then to reform and reshape and redream the reality itself on all the levels: imagination and action, alchemy, magic, might, right? Used throughout all the levels. You remain in the world. You don't check out of the world. You don't put on the robe and just sit on your ass and just meditate all day, right? Because is checking out from the world. And the question I ask, if there's just so many supposed to be saints and holy people, why the world is still so fucked up? It's just a fair question to ask. It's like, why have not they affected the structures of the society? Why they have not engaged in the architecture of those structures? There are clear laws that are corrupt, and of course, with their level of intelligence, you can clearly see them, but there's no any kind of action to do this, because to me, it's kind of selfish. Again, I'm not judging. Maybe this reality permits everything, right? Like, somebody can come say, like, hey, I'm just here for this particular reasons, and I'm out. I don't know, what kind of what else that being is going to be doing later. Maybe this reality is permitting that to do so. So I'm not judging. I'm not saying that, like, oh, this kind of, they do it for themselves and that's it. But I don't know. From my perspective, I don't consider them the real players. I think they get in the game to get these gems, and they probably play some sort of other games somewhere else. I don't know. But this is why nothing, or I should say very little, has changed in the world of the game itself. They have not changed the game, so to speak, right? The game has not evolved. They did, and they fucked off, right? And so this is, you may notice about this approach as a renunciation of the world, putting on the robe, sitting and talking to each other about the same shit all day for years to come, like, and we just like with God and everything, right? Okay. So I mean, you can recognize that, right? I don't like that. I don't think that's life. And again, I'm not judging, but probably it is not living life on all three levels: the soul, mind, and body. Okay? So the game's supposed to be evolving as the people playing the game correctly. It's supposed to be evolving. The societies must be evolving. Governments must be evolving. People must be evolving. That's what must be happening if they really apply all those gems that they've discovered. And you know, one thing that you're not going to be able to change is this 50 50% darkness, 50% light, which is a natural time fractal process that we're all in. It's the game. It's the feature of the game. You're not going to change that. But you, by playing it well, you can still have very harmonious societies. That does not excuse you, right? You can say, well, we can just wait for thousands of years, for 1,000 of years, and everything's gonna be. We're gonna just move in a golden age, and everything's fine, right? Like, so we just wait it out. But that's not the point of the game. The point of the game is, despite all of that corruption, bring out something that is a jewel, is a jewel in life, right? You, and the jewel must be completely manifested in this world, and you as a soul, you probably are here to bring that jewel out. But the real jewel, not just another half-assed model of consciousness, and and that doesn't really change anything, right? Something real, something, I don't know what that may be for you, but in my case, it seems to be a model of consciousness. This is why I don't want to release anything kind of sort of half-assed until I see that is the most elegant thing that I've ever seen. Then, and there are ways to do this, But anyway, I will release it. And I will also make sure that it's tested out and it actually works and can definitely organize the human psyche and the society in a more harmonious way. Like, I see it as a fact that it will happen if you apply it like that. So to me, it would be just like the manual for consciousness of how to play this game of life, but properly, not just to be part of the corrupted world and say, well, it's just the way it is, No, that's not it. Like, right, in a corrupted world, your dreams are going to be corrupted. That's not it. You got to overcome the corruption, create some sort of sphere where that is immune for the corruption, and from there, the dreams can actually flourish, the real dreams, not the ones that just look like a dream, but it's actually a nightmare, a sugar-coated nightmare, right? You see what I'm trying to say? So yeah, and I can honestly say, look, like, I'm paying my dues. I'm alchemizing all of these emotions, all of these feelings, I should say. It brings me to the deeper and deeper states of consciousness, and I'm exploring them, and they're awesome. And I can see how it all works, that vertical dimension of consciousness. And I'm learning to shift from one to another. It's fascinating world. Okay? But it does not replace anything that you need to learn in the body as a skill, a habit, or anything that is necessary. You see? And at the same time, I have to say that none of this rid of my body reactions or my body emotions. If somebody does something that is wrong, I may get pissed off, and I say, okay, why the fuck are you doing like that? And it's not fair, it's not right. It may be just like coming online. I say what I need to say, but it's not a kind type of conversation. It's assertive and aggressive. And I say, no, this is not how it's supposed to be. And I check somebody if they are trying to push the boundaries, take a piss, or whatever they want to do, right? And if it's not right, I check them. And it happens naturally. Then later, if I look back and say, well, maybe that's not okay, maybe I should not, because, that's like there was kind of aggressive and stuff like that, try to check it. But it's like, there's nothing rotten in my soul. I don't feel any, lingering hate for the situation. It just happened. Situation was corrected, and it ended. And that's it. And I have no animosity towards that person. But I checked, it was body to body interaction. One body was doing something that is incorrect, another body checked it and corrected. Okay? And if it's like a little bit incorrect, then there's a little bit of emotional, emotional movement to block that thing that is not correct and correct it. And if it's a lot incorrect, then there might be a lot more of that emotion. But it comes, you don't hate the person, right? But you're just correcting something that was done wrong. And it's perfectly fine. Okay? And whoever's being corrected, they have to understand that this is what's going on. And fix what was wrong and correct the behavior. If they go into this like, well, fuck that guy, or gal, who the fuck thinks telling me, okay, now it's their problem, now they go into ego, and okay, good riddance, bye-bye. If you go there just over a regular and natural correction that needs to be applied, then then that problem, that person has a problem. Now, of course, like if you have no kind of animosity towards it, then there's no reason for that person to be like that. But if they are like that, then your soul is clean. You acted in a body in a natural way to make things right in the physical world, and use the emotion to do so. All good. There's no error in this particular case on your side. Does that make sense? Now, if you do that and then later spend all day steaming about it, now, okay, that's different. Now there might be something that you made to look in your soul. But if you forget about it and you are continuing enjoying whatever the motions are happening within your soul, within your consciousness, then there's no problem. Okay? I just wanted to say this because I see that I really don't like, because I look at people sometimes and I see the way they are, and it's like, okay, why are you not engaged in your body? Why are you not animated? Why are you suppressing your body? Are you afraid of not gonna come across holy or something? This isn't it. You have to let the body be the way it wants to be, because now it's another type of control. Before you try to control, before you try to control the reality, and now you're trying to control your body. Right? Yeah. So yeah, just to reiterate, I'm all about playing the game of life fully, developing the horizontal dimension and vertical dimension at the same time, for the purpose of whatever your soul desire is, right? And your soul desire cannot be fulfilled in a corrupt frame. Does that make sense? Eventually, somehow it gets corrupted. Right? And this is what happens with actors, with singers, with everything. I mean, they didn't start thinking that they're just gonna be like that, empty in the soul, empty in the soul, rich in the body, and doing the bidding of some sort of programming to keep the society in check for whatever the fuck reason, Well, we know for the reason it's because of that, to sustain that ego, that collective ego, that it's just like that Death Star or whatnot, that must be sort of eroded and destroyed eventually. Right? You can have frames that are protective, right? For example, my village is off grid. I have everything that I need here except the food. That is just some of it. Of course, it's not enough yet. And so that's my frame. This is my place, and it's the laws are different here. So the things that you do here it's not the same things that that you see what I'm trying to say, right? So it's a different frame. So there are frames within which you can fulfill your soul desires, if you will. But there's the big global frame that needs to be changed. And it's changing gradually. Okay. So there, I think that's enough for today. I just wanted to separate those very clearly. Okay. These bodily emotions are perfectly fine, and they are there for you to help you, to provide you energy to navigate physical reality the way it is, right? If you see something that is wrong and it pisses you off, this isn't you, being bad or anything like that, or this is something's wrong. No, it's totally fine. Totally fine. Again, as long as you don't hold the grudge, and as long as everything's alchemized, as long as you alchemize, everything else is fine. Another thing I just want to add real quick is that intrusion of the mind and creating those belief systems, right? It's supposed to be like turned off, that particular emotion, at all times. It's not even supposed to invade your imagination. It's only supposed to be managing the physical reality the way it's supposed to be managed. And if you do that, it's just gonna have plenty of things to do, not to bother you on other levels. Okay. Now, from those feelings that you've alchemized, if you really go deep enough into them, you may start seeing colors or a light that refers to those feelings. Okay? Or rather, these feelings are now sort of bleeding into your imagination, which is a very good sign. You have not creating them, right, through your imagination to get to the feeling. You already have those feelings, and from those feelings, they bleed into the imagination. Okay? Now, from that motion, from the feeling to imagination, that is there's a real magic that's going on, that is not done by your ego or the logics, right? That's a real magics, and real magics has a spontaneous way of creating itself. That feeling turns into the color, and that color, you let it turn into the form, and there it is. There may be need a little bit of like kind of guidance, but the real magic is this type of not forced intent. Does that make sense? Because you can force the intent as well, rather than using your feelings, which is when you have that feeling that is not a belief, or it cannot be put into belief. The feeling is coherent, and the feeling is infinite. It doesn't really have the opposite of it. That's a real coherent feeling that is infinite. It has no opposite of it. And therefore, if you create anything from it, it will also have no opposite of it. And so there's no belief system can touch it. It cannot touch it. So all of these conflicts, astral conflicts, psychic wars and whatnot, it's all going to be happening, but your domain is completely untouched because it came from the source and it cannot be touched. Okay? And so you take the energy from these conflict belief systems, you alchemize it, you put it in these coherent feelings that are infinite, and you create something that is immutable, incorruptible, and untouchable. There's no actual experience of the conflict. No one, if you bring that out, that truth in the world, no one can touch it. No one can attack it. Eventually, people just gonna have to give in to that truth that you brought into the world. Okay? Because all the pathways of hedonistic pleasures are shut off. Okay? Therefore, they are receiving much faster feedback. As I jokingly say, the Kool-Aid is wearing off, right? Whatever they're doing to pacify that feeling, they get bored of it, or they see through it and say, well, this is, what the fuck am I doing here, right? Like, or whatever that may be, any kind of substance they're taking to fix this feeling, also it's not working. It's like, what is this? This is what's going on, okay? Because you cut off the energy for that thing to happen. So the feedback kicks in on a collective scale. And it all happens because you personally alchemizing the energy. So you personally do not go into the pleasure, hedonistic pleasure. But you move your body to receive the endorphins. You eat delicious food. You know what I'm saying? You do all the things that your body loves to do, but you earn everything. You know what I'm saying? Your body even likes to work, actually. I'm going to make another video because I don't want to extend this too much. I want to make another video for those people who are living at the edge of life, as I say, and who are capable of shifting states and how play with these states for the purpose of enjoying the things that you have to do. Because there might be like this type of resistance of like, oh, I don't want to do this thing. Well, you know, everything in your soul says like, yeah, this is the next step. This is what you got to do. But, you know, something in your mind or body just says like, I don't know, right? Afraid of that motion. Now you can create that motion from that right state, and that motion that your body is resisting becomes enjoyable, and then the body stops resisting it because it's like, oh, wait a second, this is really enjoyable. It's because when you move to get something done, but your body is moving, but your heart isn't, energy isn't moving, but you're forcing yourself, you are in the conflict. And it's not that the body does not want to move or to get shit done or whatever. It's not because of that. It's because it's the wrong use of energy, and you are using the force rather than using the enjoyment, the energy. Your body wants to enjoy. So you can move with enjoyment. Now that you've alchemized, now that you have these states, you can call these states and move with the enjoyment. Every motion could be made without the energy, and could be made with the energy and felt. And by the way, this motion, this bodily motion, is to do with solar plexus. And when you're really connected to that solar plexus, you almost feel it spinning as your body is moving. And so therefore the body likes to move because it's led to move with the energy of the enjoyment. Okay. And so honestly, this is like a new way of moving for me, actually. And I've talked about this before a little bit, but now I'm really getting into this. Right now, I try not to force myself to do anything, but certain things that need to be done, I do it with my soul or my energy first. Does that make sense? So my body just follows. It's like carving out the pathway with the energy first, and the body will follow and do these things with pleasure and enjoyment, right? Because if you not carve that out through your intent and using that energy that you've accumulated, so to speak, in your heart, then you're not really carving out that pathway for the body, and then you have to force the body to do something, right? It's just like trying to push a train where there's no railway track, right? It's super difficult. You can do it, but fuck, like it's ridiculous. And then, of course, somebody else who has already built the railway, they use with they move with no resistance, and hasta luego. And then you wonder why I'm just trying to push a boulder up the hill, and perhaps somebody else is just moving effortlessly. What's the secret? The secret is the art of living. That's the secret. Okay, so there's just a little bit of a snapshot of what I'm going to talk about the next video. Okay? I mean, look, I'm not I'm not giving you a permission to go and flip everybody off that pisses you. You know what I'm saying? But hey, if man, you know what I'm saying? Like if it's part of your life and it affects your life, I mean, if it doesn't affect your life, then who gives a fuck, right? But if it doesn't affect your life and you see something that is kind of incorrect, then you make sure that that is at least done correctly in your life. Okay? So anyway, especially look in a place like this, where the societal infrastructure is just developing, which I'm talking about Mexico. What is lacking here is this fatherly energy, like the good fatherly energy. Like it's very rare. There is, of course, but it's very rare. Where somebody cares enough to correct the things that are incorrect, but does that without the hate, but with love, you know. And this is what's kind of missing. And so everybody is led to do what the fuck they want, and then unnecessarily hurt themselves and other people. Like, even if you go ahead and try to do this, okay, sure, but at least somebody should tell you, somebody who has a little bit of this fatherly sense and responsibility should tell you, look, if you're going to do this, this is what's going to happen. At least everybody else can celebrate that you're doing this, but I'm not celebrating this. I'm saying that this isn't right, and I don't think that's going to end well. Okay, so this is my take, and you do what you got to do, but you know where I stand. And we're going to crash and burn, which is exactly, this is bound to happen. Then you'll know that there's somebody who actually tried to correct you because they care, not because of they trying to get off their ego, which can also happen in that tyrannical father way. Okay? So if you're a guy and if you're a man and you're listening to this, hopefully that's gonna imbue a little bit of life in your body, and you're gonna be a little bit more active and not apologize for the assertiveness and aggression that you want to impose on the world, as long as you're alchemizing and as long as you're not full of hate, right? When that hate turns to truth, boom. You see? And the same way with the, if if you're a woman and you're listening to this, exact same thing. I hope that you don't shy away from having these emotional reactions within your body that are natural and beautiful, as long as you are devotional and alchemize everything in your soul. And then it's awesome to be human, you know? I really don't like this idea of any kind of development of consciousness indicating that you must sort of supersede your human body. No, that's just not my view. It's just not my view, and it never will be. I want to get the most fucking mileage out of this bitch. You know what I'm saying? And see how much I can push this motherfucker. All right, guys. Peace. And I'll see you in the next one.